All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is fractions. And the first thing we're going to talk about with fractions is we're going to talk about adding fractions. All right, and we're going to talk about subtracting at the same time. Adding and subtracting fractions. All right, we can do that at the same time. With both of these, the first thing you need to make sure that you have a common denominator. If the denominator is the same, life is easy. If the denominator is not the same, you have to make sure you have a common denominator. Step 2. Okay. Add/subtract numerator. Step 3. Keep denominator. Step 4, simplify if necessary. This is a big one, simplifying. You have to make sure you simplify your fractions. All right? It makes life easier when you simplify your fractions. Remember, this common denominator, you have to have a common denominator. If it's not common, you need to find the common denominator. And we'll go over that in an example. So let's go with example 1. Go with 4/15 plus, let's go 7/15. Okay. Boom, I have a common denominator. Boom, let's add the numerator. 4 plus 7 is 11. 15. Kept the denominator. Simplify. Nope, don't need to. Cool, move on. Example 2. All right. Let's go with 2/3 minus, let's go with 2/9. 2/3 minus 2/9 here, okay? This one, do we have common denominator? No, we don't. So we need to find that common denominator. We can do this one of two routes. First route, we can know that 3 goes into 9, so I can change 3 to 9 by multiplying by 3. And if I multiply the bottom by 3, I have to multiply the numerator by 3. 3 times 2 is 6. We don't need to change this one because it's already a 9. Now we just do the math. 6 minus 2 is 4. The other method you could do to find a common denominator. All right, we're going to do an example 3. All right, let's go with 1/2 plus, let's go with 2/5. 2 cannot go into 5. Right? So, the easiest way to recognize this, multiply by the opposite denominator. So for the 2's, we're going to multiply by the 5. Do the same thing to the top. For the 5, we're going to multiply by 2. Same thing to the top. This is going to give us a common denominator of 10, because 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 1 is 5. 2 times 2 is 4. Now we add them up, and we get 9/10. All right, let's do one more example. Example 4. Let's go with 7/9 minus, let's go with 3/5. I think this should give me one. I should be able to, yeah. All right. Let's change this up. Let's go 7/4. 7/4 minus 3/5. All right, sorry, I know. Let's change this up a little bit. Minus. We need a common denominator. We'll multiply this side by 5. Multiply this side by 4. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 7 is 35. 3 times 4 is 12. I still didn't get one that I wanted. That's fine. 35 minus 12 is 23 over 20. Poor planning of my examples. I didn't get one where we had to simplify. Thought that was going to simplify. Remember, simplifying, just dividing, all that stuff. All right, let's talk about multiplying fractions. right? When we multiply fractions are very easy. You don't need common denominator. Step 2, multiply numerators. You don't need to change anything. You don't need a common denominator. Step 3, multiply denominators. Step 4, simplify if necessary. And I'm going to show you guys a cool little trick to figure out so that you don't have to simplify in the end. You can simplify actually before you multiply. So let's go example 5. Example 5. Let's go with 2/5 times, let's go with 3/8. If I follow my rules, multiply numerators. 2 times 3 is 6. 5 times 8 is 40. Simplify. I can simplify. Both 6 and 40 are divisible by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 40 divided by 2 is 20. We get, boom. Now I said I could show you a trick how to get rid of, have to figure out whether you need to simplify. If you look here, if you look diagonally, 2 and 8, both 2 and 8 are divisible by 2. So I can turn the 8 into a 4, and I can turn the 2 into a 1. 3 and 5 cannot be cross-canceled. Now I just do 1 times 3 is 3. 5 times 4 is 20. Look, I came up with the same answer. I basically simplified before I did the math. All right, multiplying, very simple. Multiply straight across. Remember to simplify. Last thing we're going to talk about is dividing. Step 1. Don't need common denominator. So remember that. The only time we need common denominator is when we're adding or subtracting. Multiplying, dividing, you don't need a common denominator. Step 2. Keep first fraction. Step 3. Change multiplication, or change, not multiplication. Sorry. Change division to multiplication. And step 4, flip second fraction. Step 5, multiply. So let's look at an example. Example 6. Make sure this is on your screen. It is. Let's go 2/5 divided by, let's go 3/10. Makes life easy on us, okay? We don't need a common denominator. Keep the first fraction, so we're going to keep the first fraction. Change division to multiplication. Flip the second fraction, so 3/10 is going to turn into 10 over 3. Now we can multiply. Hopefully you remember, hey look, I can cross cancel. The 5 and 10 are both divisible by 5, so 10 divided by 5 is 2, 5 divided by 5 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 1 is 3. So that is a quick review of multiplying fractions and dividing fractions and adding and subtracting fractions. All right, hopefully that helped out a little bit.